So first, I would like really to thank the organizer to give this opportunity to discuss a bit more research and innovation. As the Commissioner Vella this morning tell us, research and innovation is really important to boost blue growth, and it's particularly important for the Black Sea. So as Deputy of the Marine Resources Unit in RTD, we are in charge of implementing the Horizon 2020 program. I've seen here some publicity of the program. It's a big program, 80 billion euro for 7 years. And basically, with the different directorates concerned, we are spending more or less 300 million a year to support research and marine. And among these 300 million, more or less we spend 40 million to support fishery and aquaculture research and 60 million for marine cross-cutting subjects like for the climate issue or marine technology. Of course, all the money doesn't go to the Black Sea only. It's open to the Europe, but also to the world. So it's the large program. Basically, we have 3 big pillars in this program. The first one concerns research and innovation, where more and more we want to move the research to the market. The second concerns the link with the society. More and more is necessary that we explain better the research to the society. Why we are doing research and what are the results and what is their benefit, particularly for the marine. And finally, we support the regional sea basin strategy and the challenges, and particularly the Med and the Black Sea. For the Med and the Black Sea, we are quite pushing a lot since many years. It's not new that we have a big interest for this region. In FP7, which was the last 4 years of program, we are supporting very large project for the region, and in Horizon 2022. The key priority for in Horizon 2020 is really in this region to improve the management of resources and the better understanding of the ecosystem. And you will hear this afternoon 2 examples of 2 large integrated projects that we have funded, where the scientific community from the Med and the Black Sea are linked together to develop some new innovative discovery. I'm also very pleased to see the first results of the call 2014-15, where I noted that the scientific community from the Black Sea is very active. There is many researchers involved in the consortium and in several projects related to fishery, to the climate, and so on. So, from my understanding, at least, the scientific community is well aware of Horizon 2020. So now, why do we have this session? I think the idea behind is to see whether we can explain better how we, under research innovation, we can support the blue growth, because at the end, in the ocean, you need a lot of knowledge if you really want to manage properly. So research is key. And it's important to see the benefit that we can get from the research. So it's why this session is really around what the scientific community is doing and what they could do better. Could we improve the situation to increase cooperation, as mentioned in the political messages of this morning? So the session will be for 1.5 hours. We will have 6 very knowledgeable speakers, and that give us some information of the result of their research. And the first speaker, we will have a keynote speech by Dr. Boris Jaruzelski, which is from the European External Action Services, and plus 5 speakers from Dr. Violin Rekov from the Bulgarian Academy of Science, will be the first speaker. We will have Christina Sandu. She is from the Institute of Biology in Bucharest and Romanian Academy. Then the Dr. Vangelis Athanasiou from the Hellenic Center for Marine Research in Greece, the Dr. Beram Öztürk, which is professor in the Faculty of Fishery, University of Istanbul. And the last speaker will be Dr. Demianenko from the State Agency of Fishery in Ukraine. This is the program. So, my instruction to the panel. So we will try to stick to the time. We give strict instruction, more or less 7 minutes, 10 minutes maximum to give your presentation, because we would like to spend time for discussion with the audience. What are you thinking? What are your questions relating to research? In addition, I will recommend that you speak slowly, because for interpreter, in order that they can pick your words, particularly when you are explaining a scientific word, you have to speak slowly. And then at the end, we will have a question-answer session. And we will finish at 4 sharp. So, I would like to invite our first speaker to give us a sort of overview of political background, and because I think it's important that the scientific community understand better the political momentum.
Yes, thank you. I understand that I will be followed by very respectable researchers, so I will give a more political presentation, and as Mr. Pirinski said this morning, I will try to connect the big politics with very operational issues. I was very interested by the presentation this morning by Mr. Stanitsa on the Black Sea history, the regional background, historical background, and the roots, the common roots, the common culture that we have here. And in my department, in the External Action Service, I'm also dealing with the Baltic Sea, with the Arctic, and I see a number of common issues, particularly as less than 2 months ago, we issued on a joint communication with DG Mare on the Arctic, a policy for the Arctic. The advantage maybe of the Black Sea compared to the other regions I've mentioned is, as was said this morning, this connection with Asia, with the Caspian Sea, with the Mediterranean Sea. So it's really a getaway. It's also part of the new Silk Road developed by China. I think Mr. Saakashvili mentioned that. So there is a great potential that maybe is less visible in the Baltic or indeed in the Arctic. But also there are specific challenges to the Black Sea. I think you will mention or discuss environment and so on, but we have the geopolitical context with a number of conflicts. Someone mentioned militarization, indeed. We have conflict in Georgia, we have conflict, of course, the illegal annexation of Crimea, you have the Donbass, you have Transnistria. So that are specific challenges, but which should not prevent us to continue to work in the Black Sea. And when it comes to the EU, we have the Black Sea Synergy Initiative, which helped to focus political attention at the regional level. This synergy helped us to develop cooperation within the Black Sea region, but also between the region as a whole and the EU. And I think there were interesting ideas this morning expressed by Commissioner Vella to go further, also by the representative of BSEC, I mean, to maybe have a Euro region here in the Black Sea. It's a synergy, so by definition it's flexible, inclusive, aiming at participation of all states in the region. And the main goal of this initiative, when it was designed, was based on confidence-building measures and fostering regional dialogue. And these words have been already mentioned this morning. So it's very practical cooperation, driven by the common challenges in the wider Black Sea region, but also it's a synergy, it's a policy where the stakeholders have a key role, be it regional authorities, states, business, but also civil society. And I often hear that this Black Sea synergy is dormant, that nothing is happening, but actually it's not true. Of course, we have a small step approach, and I've already mentioned some of the challenges which exist in the region, but a lot of work has been already done by all parties, and a number of cross-sectorial sea basin initiatives have been developed based on shared priorities. And there are a number of ongoing and also future projects in the Black Sea which really will serve as building blocks for next generation actions. And I would like to mention maritime affairs, of course, environmental area, civil society, and cross-border, and I will come back to that a little bit later. And an overview of what happened was issued or published January last year, which was a snapshot of our main regional cooperation initiative in the region and under the Black Sea Synergy Initiative. And several lessons were drawn from this first implementation report, and I already mentioned a couple of them. It's first that it's absolutely essential that all stakeholders participate, and also we need a strong commitment from the littoral state. And the objective is, I would like to stress once again, is to reinforce coherence across the various existing and planned initiatives, and provide a framework for more cross-sectoral activities. And I think a stakeholder conference like the one today is extremely useful, because we hear the same problems and the same issues presented from different angles. I would like to mention some sectors. Of course, Commissioner Vella already mentioned the monitoring capacity of the Black Sea marine environment. We have, of course, the EU integrated maritime policy and the Blue Growth Initiative. I would like to say a few words on the Black Sea cooperation, cross-border cooperation program, which is an important tool to stimulate projects that can provide common solutions to countries around the Black Sea. And the main sector for the Black Sea cross-border cooperation are, for the period 2014-2020, business and entrepreneurship in the tourism and cultural sectors, and tourism and culture have been developed and presented this morning. Also, the cross-border cooperation focuses on cross-border trade opportunities, which is maybe an underexploited area in the Black Sea synergy, but also modernization of the agriculture sector and sectors linked to it. And I would like also to mention an important element, which is civil society. We have annual editions of the Black Sea NGO Forum. The 8th edition was held in Tbilisi in November last year and gathered around 700 participants. I think it's extremely important because this forum brings together NGOs from all the countries in the Black Sea and brings people together, which is particularly important to build confidence and try to rebuild trust. And we are now working on the preparation of the 9th edition, end of October, most probably in Istanbul. I think the EU research program is another important initiative, or Horizon 2020, and I think you will elaborate on that. And I would like to say that the EU has a lot to offer to tackle collectively the big challenges in the Black Sea area, because we have 2 member states involved, Romania and Bulgaria. We have now 3 associated countries, Moldova, Georgia and Ukraine, which signed association agreements with the European Union and are getting closer and closer to the European Union, economically and politically. We have also 1 candidate country, Turkey. So we have a number of instruments that we can use, instruments which are internal to the European Union. We have instruments which are used in our neighborhood, and we have, of course, pre-accession instruments. And we are ready to continue to support initiatives in the Black Sea. We need more concrete projects designed from the bottom up, implemented in small steps, as I said, with all stakeholders playing a role. And that's what we are trying to do today, I mean, to bring different stakeholders together. It's a process which may appear slow from the outside, but I think it's going on. It's progressing. We want this process to be inclusive, and I would like here to conclude by saying that we need also to reach the general public, because that's an issue for the European Union, that we need to communicate better about our policies, about what we can bring to citizens. And I'm sure that a number of initiatives that are implemented currently, which maybe have a low profile, are extremely important and can be sold, let's say, to the public, be it in our partner countries like Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, but also within the European Union. So I would like to conclude by saying that we are fully engaged in this process. We will have a second implementation report of the Black Sea Synergy. We have to decide when it will be, next year, within a couple of years. But it shows that we pay still a lot of interest, of attention to the Black Sea, including politically. Of course, the environment is difficult, but we are hoping that at the local level, at the regional level, cooperation will continue. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to wish you a very, very successful and fruitful panel on research issues. Thank you.